Hey everybody, tonight we're going to have some fun with cached plans, and I'm going to show you how to see if you're using your plan cache effectively, and then I'm going to show you one trick for fixing it if you're having a problem, right? If you're having a particular problem. So let's take a look at sysdmexec cached plans. I've already brought it up here. This is on a real production system, and it's on a really big production system, and you see here it took 21 seconds to come up, and that's why I brought it up ahead of time. So you see all of these in here, all of these columns in here. Memory address, you're probably not going to be too worried about. Plan handle will come in handy some other time. What we're interested in right now is object type, okay? And you see here that I've got project, I've got proc and trigger, and there's some ad hoc in here, and there's some, what is that? There's some prepared. So what I really want to do is I want to find out how many of each type of these there are, and get some stats on them, so I can so I can see how the plan cache is being divvied up, right? What are the most used objects in the plan cache and whatnot. I'm also going to be interested in size and bytes too, and I'm going to be interested in the counts. Okay, so I've got a query already over here, and you see I'm selecting the object type as cached object type from down here. You notice how it's going to aggregate these, right? The number of plans. So this is how many plans of this type are in cache. So right now on this box, I've got 91 plans for views, 38 for ad hocs, SPs have 5, and prepared SQL has 20, right? Then I'm going to take the sum of the size in bytes, right? Divide it by 1024 a couple times, because remember that's in bytes, so I need to go to KB and then to megs to get the cache size in bytes, or cache size in megs. So this is how many megs that the views are taking up 5 megs in the cache right now, right? And then I'm going to take the use counts, which is clearly how many times the object has been used, how many times the plans have been used for these objects, and I'm going to average those. So here I've got prepared of the 20 plans, the average use count is 8. Okay, and so I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right server here. Nope, I need to switch servers. There we go. Put this on the real server. Now, if I bring this up, there we go. Now this is a real production server, right? That other one was my local host here, my laptop. So you see here how many objects I've got for ad hoc. I've got roughly 110,000, 111,000, right? It's taken up 1685 megs, right? Which is about a gig and a half. And the average use count is 777. So out of 111,000, I'm using 780. I'm just rounding, right? Using 780. I'm got 780 reuse. Now, those really aren't very good odds. Okay. What that means is that I've got a large number of plans, right, that aren't being reused at all. Okay, so I've got a lot of one-time use plans, and you see that a lot here in the ad hoc. Now, when this starts to be a problem is when you start to see the cache size in megs really climb. Now, this particular server has already been tuned, okay? But what I saw before I tuned it was I saw that this 1685, this gig and a half, right, was well over 17 and 21 gigs sometimes. So it was a huge amount of cache being taken for this, for the ad hoc cache type, for the ad hoc cache objects, right? And of course this server has memory to burn. We've got half a terabyte of RAM in this server, but that doesn't mean we need to waste it, right? So, this is the post tuning, and you can see it's pretty good, right? The SPs. Now look at the SPs. This is kind of what I'm talking about. We've got just the opposite here, right? I've got 7866 plans in cache with a use count of 85,000. Well, that's an excellent reuse that's an excellent reuse rate, right? I've got way more uses for these, so a lot of these plans are being reused. So these are really effective plans for the most part, right? My SP caching is really well used, and it's only taken up 10 gigs, 11 gigs. So, this I have no problems with for the most part. Could it be fine-tuned? Sure. But we're looking at overall kind of usage, right? The same thing kind of with the prepared statements, right? I've got 48,000 and change in cache, and it's only 6 gigs, but I've only got 2,200 average use count. That's a little bit low, right? But as long as the cache is small, I'm not really that concerned with it. But the views, look what I have with the views. I've got 1982. So we'll say 2,000 plans, and I've got 14,000 and a half average use count, 180 megs. This is a beautiful cache right here. Look at that. That is high use count. So most of these are getting reused a lot, and the cache itself is very small. So again, balance that against the 111,000 here. Remember, I'm rounding, and the 777 here, 780 here. It is this isn't being reused well at all, right? And again, that could be a problem if the size in cache is, or if the size in megs is really big, right? So, and like I said, this server has half a terabyte of RAM, but most servers don't. So for most servers, having this guy be out of whack, or any of these guys be out of whack, but this is the one you're going to see be out of whack probably the most. This one and this one. That could be a real problem. So you need to get that down, because the more memory you free up here, right, the more memory you have for these other caches. I mean, that just makes sense, right? The total plan cache has a specific size, right? And so things have to get knocked out if there's not enough room for them. So the more room you can make, the more efficiently you can use that memory, then the more you're going to have room for legitimate plans like this. Okay, so how do I go about, and you notice how I've given you a nice long lecture to give you time to write this down, right? So how do you go about changing this value here, right? Because you can't really change the number of plans that are cached, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you can change how much memory they take up, and that's the important part. So what you can do, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, is you can run spconfigure, and you may have to use you may have to turn on extended. Let's see. You may have to turn on show advanced options. Where is it? I'm trying to find it right here. So you may have to run it with show advanced options in order to see this. But what we're looking for is called optimize for ad hoc workloads. And you notice how I've got it turned on here, right? Configured value versus run value. And this is the important thing. Okay, so that's what here's what this thing does. When you turn on optimize for ad hoc workloads, what it does is it takes all of these one-time ad hoc plans that usually get stored in cache, and it stores what's called a plan stub. Okay, and basically what that is it's not a full plan. What that is it's just basically a marker that says, this has been run and a plan would go here, sort of thing. So it's just kind of like a marker for a place marker for a plan, right? So the first time this gets run, it puts that plan stub in cache. The second time the query gets run, and it would call that, and it would rely on that cached plan, then it goes ahead and caches the plan, right? So what you'll notice is if after you turn this on, if you see this number go down, and you'll probably want to do a free proc cache and then watch it climb back up, right? But if you do that and then watch this drop drastically, and it never really and it doesn't go up to the level that it was before, then you'll know that you had that many one-off plans. And again, by one-off plan, I mean the query gets submitted, the ad hoc query gets submitted, it produces that plan stub, and then it just never gets, and that never gets submitted again, so it never actually gets the full plan put into cache, which is going to really bloat your cache, right? Because it's only being used once. Okay, so if it's only being used once, you don't want it bloating your cache. You want only legitimate plans in there. So by turning on Optimize for Ad Hoc Workloads over here, right, I was able to bring this down from 17 to 21 gigs, depending on the day, all the way down to 1685, and that's a tremendous boost for everything else that I need to store in my cache, right? On a normal server. Again, on this server, I'm not really that worried about it, but on a normal server, you know, this can be a really, really big deal. So, let's see, I lost my thought here for a second. So anyway, yeah, Optimize for Ad Hoc Workloads can do you a lot of good. If you notice it not really doing you that much good, then you know, you have to go look somewhere else. I'm trying to make this a localized video, right? So you know, I'm not going to go into all the other ways that you could do that. Maybe I'll do a couple more videos on this, but for right now, this is an excellent place. And you notice here that you can use either free cache or you can use free system cache, and you can free a specific cache, right? And I believe you can look up in BOL what you can call those. Yeah, I wasn't trying to do that. But I believe you can look up in BOL what to call which plans to call here, and then you can free only the ad hoc cache. So if you're worried about on your production system freeing all of your SP cache, right, then you don't have to worry about it. You can call free system cache and call specific and cache specific plans out, and or plan types out, and then you'll be golden. Okay? Talk to you later.